Hello everybody and welcome to another community fortress. This is the fortress of TreatyDeserts, submitted on my Discord by TitanTitanium. At a glance, they state that this is their mountain home, and it includes 200 dwarves, as well as a kind of incredibly high frame rate, alongside of 3 military squads in rotation and guard duty, between training and guard duty, like I just said, as well as a fun entrance to the basement that apparently is quite active, and they've also discovered a raw adamantine wall. So we're going to dive into this. We're going to do kind of a little overview of the fortress. I'm going to talk about some things that I see, some things that I like, some things that I don't like, maybe give some feedback, and alternatively just kind of give you, once again, a different design and take on building a fortress into our fortress, because this is very much a creative game. If you would like to submit a fort to be looked at in this show, potentially, put it into the DF Save sharing room on my Discord. Link is down in the description of this video, and just at me with it and state that it's okay to use in a video. If it does not specifically state that it's okay to use in a video, I will not be using it. So just make sure that you at me and let me know. Keep in mind, there are a lot of submissions, so I'm going to have to be kind of picky and choosy. I will try and get to as many of them as I can, but, you know, world is what it is and life goes on. We're going to now dive in. So first off, I just want to say this is a lovely biome. I love these kind of more dark, like densely forested, swampy biomes. They're a lot of fun. They're just kind of exciting. There's just so much visual variety to areas like this. I just absolutely love it. This entry corridor is made out of glorious siltstone, followed into a rock salt road with this beautiful bauxite roof set up for dwarves. I'm assuming that this is either to combat the effects of a long time underground for the dwarves, or alternatively, it's just for show. But regardless, I think it looks beautiful. The only thing I would have personally done differently if I were to do just kind of a showy ceiling piece like this is I would have used ramps up in the middle with a centerpiece down the center. So like wall in the center with ramps on either side, because it gives it kind of this arched roof. Notably used technique in the Fortress of Rope Gorge, which was another fort I took a look at on this series a couple of weeks ago. As we go over here to the left, we can see that we do have space for a trading depot. Now keep in mind, this is correct, it is up on the surface. However, if you want to get wagons, especially because you are the capital, you are the mountain home, if you want to get wagons as traders, you have to give them a 3x3 entrance. So just cut out 3 spots there. Although something that may cause problems is, well, the forest is pretty dense, but it's not too dense that the wagons couldn't make it in. So that would be my one real criticism about this trading depot, but aside from that, like, this looks awesome. Something that I would like to note about these stairs is this is a 3x3 setting, and I'm working on a video about frame rate in general, because many people have been yelling at me because I like to think, or like to say that frame rate death is largely not a concern at this point. Well, it can be if you don't mitigate it, I suppose. So what I'm planning on doing is talking about stairs pretty heavily. And what I would recommend doing is cutting out these corners and just going with kind of a cross pattern. So just as an example, going into here and then channeling out, not that side right there, but if we go into here and we channel out this, 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 and this, it would limit the possible number of directions dwarves can go in these stairs from 28 when they're in the middle down to a fraction of that, giving you roughly the same amount of space for the dwarves to move up and down the stairs, but also removing the possible pathing options. So if all of your dwarves are constantly going up and down stairs, it's significantly better for them to be able to path around each other without having to go underneath each other. It's not very clear in this version of the game, actually, and I think this is actually one of the few major issues I have with this tile set that has come with this premium version, is that it's not super clear when dwarves actually have to physically lie down to go underneath things. It looks like they're just kind of phasing through each other. They don't. They actually have to lie down if they collide with each other in a 1x1 hallway. So they do everything that they can to not do that, and it's not very clear, but it is kind of what it is. So this, I'm assuming, is our front door lever to slam the gates shut, which, once again, I really like those gates. But we're going to start going down now. Let's zoom out just a little bit. So as we go down a few layers, we can see there's some pretty fun water contraptions, which I'm sure are going to be interesting to take a peek at once we get a little bit further down. It does get rather shallow rather quickly, but if we go down, we can actually see that these are distributing mist down into various portions of the fortress, as well as building cool water features, which I really like. Although I would have used ramps for the actual stairs down or channeled them out entirely, just because for me, watching water flow onto the empty stair tiles just looks weird. But let's just go back up a little bit and do more of a proper tour. So this is kind of the bedroom layer, which is impressive as hell looking. Like, it's actually kind of monolithic. And, you know, it always reminds me, it's just like when you sit down and you look at these layers like this. It's like, man, this is so big, it almost fills the screen. It's like, you have so much more space to build in Dwarf Fortress. Like, oh man, like, this isn't even the biggest you could possibly make the map yet. Like, this is not even using a third of it. But massive bedroom layer. Then down here, if I open up zones, we can see that we have several different guild halls. Oops, I seem to have scrolled down a layer. We have several different guild halls, kind of just going all the way along here. We have a very small, beautiful little library called the Vault of Flames. A temple right next to it called the Abbey of Loving. I'm loving it. And then down here, we've got some more of these guild halls and then another temple. I really like the way these look, especially considering these temples are designated for an actual religion. So just keep in mind that if these religions, if you get a petition for a religious site or a temple, just make sure that you appoint the holy figures, which they haven't actually done here. So I don't know if these were petitioned for or if they just built them. It could be either or. It does say that there's 13 worshippers here, so I'm assuming it was petitioned. So for this particular temple of gems of the Diamond Communion, they would need to appoint the holy finger, which would need to be one of these dwarves, in order for this temple to actually function and the petition to be satisfied. So just keep that in mind if you are satisfying petitions for specific temples. Yeah, they've actually done that over here with the Holy Heather, Abil, the Holy Heather, but they haven't done that over there. So that's just something I kind of wanted to point out there. But aside from that, I do really like this design. It's a bit too symmetrical for me. I like my more weird shapes, but these are very large, nice, lovely bedrooms. You could even toss in weapon racks into these bedrooms, or alternatively like a table and chair if you want to even improve dwarves' moods even further, because the more furniture they have, really, the happier they are, so you might as well just keep throwing stuff in. Now, as we go down to this kind of main layer, we got several more of these, or another one of these massive housing blocks. And then up at the end here, we have these, I'm assuming, royal bedrooms. So yeah, we have the king, we have the duke, I think, and then the outpost liaison right there. Really nice way to set things up, honestly. It's cool that the dwarves have to kind of walk up here and they get to witness the doors to the godly bedrooms at the end, but then they just have to turn into their small housing blocks. Over here we have, although that being said, these bedrooms are really nicely large anyway for any dwarf. And then down here we have the Honest Abbey and the crucifixion of something or another, the crucifixion of Apexes. I'm sure Apex Legends is a big fan of this. Once again, they do have performers assigned too, which is lovely to see, as well as yet another Holy Heather up here assigned. And then down here we have our barracks, which are pretty badass looking. I really like the kind of the stone centering. Personally, I wouldn't put the bedrooms in there. I like to keep them kind of separate, but you absolutely can put them in entirely in here. As you can see, they have them storing their stuff here and doing all this. Just make sure that, like, if you are training your military like this in a space that's just constantly training, make sure you give them at least a little bit of downtime, because, like, as you can see, I just selected a random soldier. Wants to be with family and be with friends, is lonely after being away from friends for too long. You might have some problems with dwarves starting to go a little bit nuts over time if you do have them just working on that round-the-clock cycle. If I pop up the actual schedules here, let's take a real quick peek at them. So they've just got them on training, and if I they've just got them on training, and I'm very kind of concerned about, like, the long-term mental health of those dwarves. So just make sure that you give them some breaks occasionally, yeah? Over here, we have this glorious tavern. I love the chessboard. It looks fantastic, frankly, as well as I mentioned earlier, those great showers. So it's kind of funny. I've had some people actually call BS on me when I say dwarves like being sprayed with mist. They don't like getting rained on, no, but they do like this specific tile. It's labeled as mist, and if I actually select this dwarf, see, it says that they are content after being near a waterfall. So definitely, if you have the ingenuity, it's absolutely worth setting up little showers for your dwarves. The cleaner the water, the better. Maybe don't spray them with salt water, but if you can absolutely get some fresh water flowing down through your fortress and into your tavern, definitely a good idea. We have our brewery and our kitchen. Kitchen's a little small in my opinion, but brewery is definitely sufficient. Then we have some storage stockpiles and crafting areas. Looks fantastic to me. I do appreciate the rounding off of squares. You know, I gotta be honest, I really like the way this fortress looks, right? But if these were all just flat squares, I'd be complaining. I really like that you've rounded off the corners here. I think that they look really, really nice. So shout outs to Titanium Titan, the person who submitted this particular fortress, because of that. I do appreciate that. Down here, we have this kind of conspicuous room. I guess it's like the lower tavern, maybe a dining room or something. It doesn't appear to be assigned to anything, so I'm not entirely certain what this room is for specifically. Aside from that, it's just more tables, which is always good. As well as you can see more of those water vents. And then we have these two tiny little offices up here, office and dining hall. I'm assuming that that's outpost liaison, it looks like. And then we're gonna see more storage, as well as more Well, I guess we've got this minecart track that's beginning, so we're going to have to go take a look at that now, won't we? And then the water drainage, which eventually drains off the side of the map, which is a very good way of doing things and my preferred method as well. It looks like some things got flooded here, and that's kind of funny, but, like, you know, it happens. What actually is here on the ground? It's just, what, small piles of mud and oh, it's gypsum. Okay. And then over here we have this minecart track that just goes down, 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 all the way down to here. It looks like they just kind of use that to fill up a whole bunch of limestone and such, and then power it up to the surface, or vice versa. Definitely an effective way of transporting stuff up or down, depending on how you're doing it. And then as we go down, we can see that they've got this large-scale farming operation down here in this cavern layer at -5 elevation. Some planned stairs that never got finished. And as we scroll down and scroll down, we can see that we did collide with they clearly did collide with another cavern layer that just kind of gave up construction. Look at all of this ore. Oh my God, we've got gold, we've got tetrahedrite. Man, what a ore-rich cavern layer. I love these deep cavern layers. Like when I find these ones that are like 40 Z levels deep, it's like, oh my God. Awesome looking. So down here is the guard duty, I'm assuming, for the outpost down in the basement. This also looks awesome. Of course, the lovely cave moss and the piles of poor dead Crundles. Oh, those Crundles. Crundles, an evil force of darkness in their own right, but absolutely awesome little critters. I love this. This is beautiful. I would have actually just, you know, if this was my fortress, if I stumbled on this cavern layer early, I would have just built right here. This would have been my location, because, like, you can scroll up, you could seal that off real quickly. You could do a lot with that. That is awesome looking. I would build a barracks right there if I was playing this fortress. And then we're gonna scroll down a little bit more. Until we hit the third cavern layer. Another one that also looks pretty. Man, there's definitely times when, like, I'll find cavern layers. I'm like, that's a awful cavern layer. Like, there's not a lot you could do there, but this one's cool looking. The dwarves can actually move diagonally out of here, I think, even past the young dead nether cap, so keep an eye on that. Be careful about that. Things could get a little rusty there. And then down here is this very intriguing place that they've discovered after mining out many different veins of tetrahedrite down here. You can scroll down, just keep moving down. There is a spot here that I would like to show off right there. There it is. Look at this. Got this interesting wall studded with gems, followed by a raw adamantine wall. Praise the miners. Something else I would like to look at before we dive out of this fort is I would like to take a look at the king themselves. So what we're going to do is I'm going to scroll through this long list of dwarves until we find the king. And then I would like to just kind of take a peek at them, because I'm a little bit curious. I'm always curious to see kind of the mental state and the mental fortitude of your average king. So this is a 90-year-old king, right? He is currently sleeping. He has poor focus and disdains tradition. What a king. He feels fondness after speaking with a friend and euphoric after having a mandate deadline met. What a happy king. Easily changes his mind and will generally go with the prevailing view on anything and enjoys being in crowds. He does not enjoy participating in physical confrontations, and he works to square this natural tendency with his respective martial prowess. He is very quick to anger and prefers to present himself modestly. He generally finds himself to be quite hopeful about the future, and he does not go out of his way to help others. He is brave in the face of imminent danger, and he is currently more fearless. A warrior king. I like it. And he often feels discouraged and can occasionally lose focus on the matter at hand. He tends to think before acting and is currently more thoughtless, and he has a calm demeanor and a sense of duty. Needs alcohol to get through the working day and doesn't really care about anything anymore. Personally, he finds the idea of family loathsome, disregards tradition, and sees working hard as a foolish waste of time. Does sound like a king, and he dreams of creating a great work of art. He likes black bronze, clear diamond, and sheep's wool, and greaves and amulets and creepy crawlers for their freakish wriggling. And the sight of the pregnancy of flutes, and when possible prefers to consume wheat beer, and absolutely hates mussels. What a good little king. Queen consort, of course. Has quite a large family, plenty of kids. What a good king. It's always neat to see one that actually seemingly fits the role, at least to a degree. I really like this fort. I think that there's a lot of coolness about it. And as you can see, we have the FPS turned on down here. Let me just unpause the fort and we'll see how well it runs. I really like this fort. I think it's really well organized, and I think there's a lot of really cool things to look at here, and I'm sure that plenty of fun stories have come out of this one. And I just want to say that there's a few things that you could do, especially with those stairs, to maybe improve your frames just a little bit. And I'd be a little bit concerned about some of your military's mental health, unless you personally don't care. And then lastly, I would say if I was building those mist generators, I would be just using grates and channeling out the drop downs instead of using stairs, just because I don't like looking at water flow downstairs. It just looks weird to me. But all that being said, it's not really criticisms. It's more just like a personal taste, really. Up on the surface, one final thing I would like to look at is that if we look at this outer wall, don't forget to trim back your trees. Things can climb this. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you want to see more videos like this, especially these particular community forts, well, there's a playlist of them growing on this YouTube channel, as well as tutorials and more Dwarf Fortress videos than you could reasonably watch in a lifetime. If you want me to take a look at your fortress, once again, just join my Discord, and in the Dwarf DF save sharing room, at me why you think I should look at your fortress, maybe attach some screenshots and give me a little pitch, and assuming you state that it's okay to be used in a video, I will possibly give it a look. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.